Thanks for joining me today. What I want to talk about today is BLM, or more commonly, the organization known as Black Lives Matter. And do Black Lives matter? Absolutely. But what I want to talk about here is how, in many ways, the BLM organization has not always reached out to help other blacks. And also what they've done is taken money from their own donations to enrich their own lives. Ann Dorn, she's the widow of the slain St. Louis police officer David Dorn, who was shot and killed in their city during the 2020 riots. She stated that David never did support the Black Lives Matter organization. He said that it never did anything to help other blacks. The year that David was killed, over a dozen children had been shot in the St. Louis area, and not once did BLM ever offer any assistance. Their lives mattered also. After her husband was killed, she stated that a number of Republicans reached out to offer condolences, including Donald Trump, yet not one Democrat ever did. The ironic thing here is that her husband David did a lot of work in the community with other Democrats, and not one time did any of them ever offer any condolences. Also, the night David was killed, 55 businesses, many of them black-owned, were ruined because of the rioting going on in the city. And once again, BLM never reached out to help any of them. Another thing that pours salt on the wound is that the day before David was killed, Kamala Harris sent out a link to the Minnesota Freedom Fund. The Minnesota Freedom Fund was used to raise money to post bail to get rioters out of jail following their arrest over the death of George Floyd. In April 2022, New York City Mayor Eric Adams, although he's a Democrat, he slammed the BLM organization. When he was asked how his administration would get a handle on the increase in New York City shootings, he criticized BLM for failing to protest against gun violence in the city. Adams stated, "If Black Lives Matter, then the thousands of people out in the streets protesting over the death of George Floyd should be stating that Black Lives Matter, and that the lives of children who die every night in our streets in America, that their lives matter also." Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors, she stated in 2015 that she and her fellow organizers are trained Marxists. Cullors was a protege of Eric Mann, a former organizer of the Weather Underground, a domestic terror organization. Cullors has used BLM for her own financial gain also. She became executive director of BLM in 2020, and she handled a large influx of donations that BLM received. The BLM purchased a 6,500 square foot property for $6 million, and she at first denied that she ever used it for personal functions. Yet she lied about this. She told the Associated Press that she held a party for the Biden-Harris inauguration as president and vice president. Later on that same year of 2021, she also held a private birthday party for her son. In 2022, Cullors came under more scrutiny as tax filings showed she raked in millions of dollars that she funneled to family and friends. She paid out $970,000 to the father of her child, which was dubbed as creative services, and also another $840,000 to her brother for security purposes. She was forced to resign after this information came out. Sir Major Page, he's the founder of the BLM Atlanta chapter. He was arrested in May 2022 on fraud and money laundering charges. The 32-year-old was arrested by the FBI after he used $200,000 in BLM donations on food, dining, clothing, furniture, and other accessories. He also used $112,000 of the money to buy a home for himself in Toledo, Ohio. During the 2021 fiscal year, BLM donated $200,000 to a Chicago-based nonprofit organization whose executive director has repeatedly called cops pigs. The organization Equity and Transformation, or more commonly known as EAT, was established in 2018 by police activist Richard Wallace, who has organized protests against police and advocates for reparations. Besides calling police pigs, he has said we need to defund those bastards. Well, I hope you've learned something here from the information that I've shared, and I'll see you on the next video.